Hello, I'm JW. This time I'm going to have a look at zones, or more accurately where you can put cables when they're concealed in the walls. Of course, this is a very common situation, particularly in domestic properties. People don't generally want the cables stuck all over the surface in full view. Now, these previously were called safe zones, but the definition's been changed in the 18th edition, and they're now called prescribed zones, but the principle is the same, and also the places you can put them are the same as well. It's just one of those things where I've changed the name of it for reasons unknown. So let's have a look at the actual regulations to start with. So this is the extract from the 17th edition, and this is 6113, and we see there on the third item there it says routing of cables in safe zones, or protection against mechanical damage in compliance with section 522. And this is pretty much the only mention of this in the regulations. And this is actually in the end section about initial verification. Now if we now move into the 18th edition, which was effective from 2019, then we can see it's very much a similar thing, but it's now called routing of cables in prescribed zones. And as before, protection against mechanical damage in compliance with section 522. So prescribed zones from January 2019, safer zones up to that point, but they mean the same thing, and the actual zones themselves haven't changed. Now for the rest of this we use the 18th edition, and the regulation in question which defines the zones is this one, which is 522.6.202, and that's what we've got here: a cable installed in a wall or partition at a depth of less than 50mm from the surface of the wall or partition shall 1. Be installed in a zone within 150mm from the top of the wall or partition, or within 150mm of an angle formed by two adjoining walls or partitions. And when the cable is connected to a point accessory or switchgear on any surface of the wall or partition, the cable may be installed in a zone either horizontally or vertically to the point accessory or switchgear. And then the final item is where the location of the accessory point or switchgear can be determined from the reverse side. A zone formed on one side of the wall of 100mm thickness or less, or partition of 100mm thickness or less, extends to the reverse side. So quite a lot of text in there. Have a look at this in more detail in a moment. So this really applies to any cable that's concealed in the wall, as in you can't actually see it. This is not applicable to cables on the surface or those in trunking or whatever else, because of course you can still see where they are installed. Now, if you're going to put cables in the wall, that is pretty much one of the things there. If you're going to be doing those things, then the piece at the bottom here also applies, which means that the cable shall be provided with additional protection by means of an RCD, having the characteristics specified in Regulation 41511, and that basically comes down to having the 30mA RCD for all concealed cables, and that's been the case for a considerable length of time. Now, the only other option you've got is point 2 here, which basically just says complies with Regulation 522.6.204. Now just have a quick look at that as well for completeness. So here's 522.6.204, and you've basically got one of the other choices in if you're not going to be putting them within zones. The cable must have an incorporating an earthed metallic covering, which complies with the requirements and complies with the various standards given there. It must be installed in earthed conduit, complying with that standard, or being enclosed in earthed trunking or ducting, or be provided with mechanical protection against damage sufficient to prevent penetration of the cable by nails, screws and the like, or it's forming part of a salve or pelve circuit meeting the particular requirement. So essentially, if you're going to put cables in the wall outside of the zones, they've basically got to be in steel conduit or steel trunking or something similar, or they've got to be an armoured cable such as steel wire armoured or the sort of copper clad varieties or various other types. So generally a fairly uncommon choice, but bearing in mind that these do exist, and if you do need to put cables in places where the zones are not actually applying, then there are these options. So let's have a look at an actual illustration of these things. So here we have a room with some walls in it, and of course we've got a ceiling in there in the light grey and a nasty green coloured floor. Now I've also got a doorway there which just happens to go into another room which we can't see. That has blood red walls for some reason, but we're not going to be looking in there, so who cares what's going on in that part. So at the moment it's completely blank and empty. So let's see where some of these zones would actually fit in. So first of all then is the zone 150mm from the ceiling, and we can see that highlighted in pink here. So this effectively goes around the entire room, and provided your cables are within 150mm of the ceiling, that's about 6 inches, then you can put any cables in there that you want. So quite a handy thing if you say got concrete ceilings or something, you can put all the cables say around there in that particular zone, and they can then be plastered in later. Or another thing you can do is put coving up there, and then you can actually put the cables, say, behind the coving. Wouldn't even need to necessarily recess those in the wall. The coving, of course, has a space behind normally when it's installed. So any part of that, basically just down from the ceiling, perfectly fine to put all of your cables in there. Now the next one is the 150mm from the corner of a wall, or basically where two walls or partitions meet. So again, shown in pink here, we've got those two vertical zones there, and again they're 150mm from the corner, and of course it goes along both of the walls, so quite a wide section there to install cables and things. And again, this is between the corners or joints between walls, wherever they happen to be. Now, another thing which may not be immediately obvious here, and a lot of diagrams actually don't bother to put in, is it's not just the corners as we've got shown here, which you might sort of class as internal corners. You can also have the external corners as well, and again we've shown these here highlighted in pink. So it's not just the internal corners, of course a lot of rooms only have internal ones, it is the external corners as well, and again it's the same as before, the 150mm from the corner, and again that's a pretty wide zone there to install your cables in. Now of course those are all very well, but those don't really help you get wires to sockets, switches and other equipment, so the next part of it is that wherever you're installing a piece of equipment, so a socket in this case on this right hand side wall, the fact of placing a socket there and connecting wires to it will create two zones, as we've shown here, a vertical one and also a horizontal one. And provided that the cables are actually connected to the item on the wall, so that would be the socket in this case, you can put those cables in anywhere in that pink area, so say vertically above and below the socket, and to the left and the right as well. And note that these zones do not extend around the corner, so there we've got it just coming up to that external corner. The zone does not go around the corner, it just ends at that point, and of course the zone ends at the ceiling and the floor below as well. Now of course if you wanted to extend the zone around the corner, then the easiest method is just to put another socket on the next wall, so that's what we've got here, and you have to see that creates its own zones as well, and then of course you can continue the cables around that corner and of course connect them to the next socket. So perfectly fine to put cables horizontally all around a room if you had sockets on all of the walls. You may not want to do that in some cases because it might be better to put them, say, vertically in some situations, or say up into the ceiling or below the floor or whatever. But it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this regulation. You can put them anywhere within that pink area. Now it's worthwhile considering the Fano use of the room, because although people are supposed to know where these zones are, it's not always the case that they necessarily follow them or give much care about the actual installation. So for example, if this was going to be a kitchen, it would be a good idea to put the actual cables horizontally between the various sockets that were going to be, say, above your worktop, because if you put them vertically, there's a very good chance that whoever installs the cabinets, whether those be on the ground or ones that are on the wall, there's a good chance they're going to drill holes in the wall to secure those, and of course they could end up drilling right through the cables, and of course they're going to say, well, that was your fault and someone's fault, but put them horizontally between them, that avoids all of that bother in the end. But again, if it's just going to be a normal room like this, generally just pick whatever the shortest route is or the most convenient one. In this case, I'll say we could either put them horizontally or vertically. If this had concrete floors, then putting it through the walls would be a good choice. But if it was, say, suspended floors or floorboards or whatever, it'd be far more sensible just to put the cables, say, up to each socket from underneath, and then just put the cables under the floor. Because of course it's much easier to take up a couple of floorboards than it is to start cutting out whole chunks of wall for tens of meters. Now of course it isn't just sockets this applies to, it's pretty much any electrical item you screw to the wall. So here we've got an example of a light switch, and it's just located next to that doorway there. And as with the sockets, it creates a zone vertically and horizontally between where the switch is located. And as before, it doesn't extend obviously into the ceiling or below, and it doesn't extend onto adjoining walls. So over at the left there it stops basically at the corner there, and it does not extend across things like doorways or windows, so again it just stops at the edge of the doorway there. But as before, as long as the cables are connected to the switch in this example, they can go either vertically above, below, or to the left or the right. It doesn't really matter which one it is, and again you just pick whichever was most convenient. Typically it's going to be above for a light switch, obviously because the cables are going up into the ceiling for the light. But again, it may be below, certainly for, say, upstairs, and it had a switch which, say, controlled some lights on a downstairs hallway or something, then you may want to have them below, or in some cases above and below. And it's not entirely unlikely that you might want to put them horizontally. For example, if you had a room with, say, 2 doorways in the fairly long wall, you could put a switch at each doorway, and then just put the cable between them horizontally. So again, options are there, it doesn't really matter which it is. Just use whichever is the most convenient for the particular installation. Now the fun part of these zones from accessories is the fact that if you've got, say, a light switch, as we've got here, and it's on a wall, and the wall is less than 100mm thick, and there's some kind of opening, such as a doorway or window or something, so you can actually see around the other side very easily, then the zones shown here in pink do extend onto the other side of the wall as well. However, this is of fairly minimal use, because bearing in mind, even if you're going to put a light switch on the other side for the other room, that in itself would create its own zones anyway. So it's purely a case that in this situation, if this zones on this side were there, and there was no light switch on the other side, then these zones also apply on the other side as well. And in terms of installation, say it's fairly meaningless, but it's really just there so that if the cables were in the wall, and then if someone's putting a picture up on the other side, they're supposed to look in this room and think, oh, well, there's a light switch there, so probably going to be cables into that sort of area. But say in terms of actual installation, it's pretty much useless, because you're not going to be putting anything on the back for sort of unrelated cables, because they're not going to be connected to this switch. And also, if you're going to put, say, a switch or whatever on the other side, of course it creates its own zones anyway. So they can extend to the other side, but it's really just for other persons rather than anyone installing the electrical equipment. So in summary then, before you even started putting electrical equipment in, you've already got all of these pink areas here where you can install cables. So strip around the top there against the ceiling, and that's 150mm wide. And then you've also got anywhere where there's a corner, so it's an internal or external corner. And again, those are 150mm wide on each of the walls, so the whole zone there is effectively 300mm wide. That's about 12 inches. And so that's for any cables you want to put there. They don't have to have anything necessarily attached on the wall or whatever. It's just where you can obviously run those things as needed. And then once you've actually fitted, say, sockets, switches and other things on the wall, and that does include things like consumer units as well, each of those will then create its own zones horizontally and vertically, and those are the width or height of the particular item that you're fixing on the wall. So you end up with something like this. So this room only has a couple of sockets and a switch, but there's already a huge area where you can install cables for these things, so really should be plenty of choice there. And again, just use whichever is the most convenient for the particular installation, and normally that's going to be the shortest one, as obviously that's using less cable and also much quicker to actually install. And these really are the only zones. You cannot put things, for example, behind skirting boards horizontally, because that's not included on this diagram and wasn't in the regulation. And there is no zones around door frames or windows. And important to note that the zones created by sockets, switches and the like do not extend around wall corners, and they do not extend vast door frames or anything else. And also it's important to realise that they only exist if there are actually cables connected to the switch or socket. You can't just say put a switch on the wall and then run cables for another circuit behind it and hope that it's going to be part of that, because of course that switch can then be removed, leaving the other cables in there, and they're not actually connected to the item in question. So it does need to be cables that are connected to the socket, switch or whatever else it is you've got. So that's it for this time, and you can find these diagrams and more information on the website, which is at flameport.com. And if you find this information useful and you want to support this channel, then you can do that at Patreon. Links to that in the description to this video. But until next time, thanks for watching.